All right, we've got some breaking news this hour. The U.S. Supreme Court just dismissed a death penalty case. CBS News legal contributor Jessica Levinson joins us now with more on this. So tell us more about this case and the ruling today.
So this is a decision where the court said we shouldn't have taken this case. It's dismissed as improvidently granted. It's called a dig. And that means that the court didn't decide the merits of this case. The case centered around a question of what to do when you have multiple IQ tests for somebody who is facing the death penalty, who is death eligible, so to speak. And the answer is that the court doesn't give us an answer here. This was a situation where there were multiple tests, and in some cases, the defendant fell under the IQ level, where there's precedent that you do not, in fact, allow somebody who's intellectually disabled to be subject to the death penalty. And then there were other tests. There were other test scores that indicated that, in fact, the defendant was over that line. And so what we have here are a lot of different separate writings, but in the end, no decision and no opinion from the court on what to do in this circumstance.
And so, Jessica, I think we always kind of try to ask this with any decision or non-decision by the Supreme Court, but what are the real-world implications of this, if any?
So I think the real world implications, it's a great question, is that we don't have a standard from the court and that lower courts are going to have to continue to sort this out. What we see, and obviously I'm still reading through the opinions here, is that Justice Sotomayor says basically, yes, we're going to decide this, but this was the bad vehicle through which to make this determination. Then there's some questions with the other justices as to whether or not that prior case, that precedent that we talked about, is even still a case that should be upheld. So there's a lot of disagreement among the justices. Again, the bottom line here is no uniform standard from the court. I think it's still going to be up to the lower courts to sort out this question.
Okay, got it. Lots to follow there. Jessica, thank you.
Thank you, Jessica.
And now I want to bring in CBS News legal reporter Katrina Kaufman with more on this. Katrina, we're following so many different cases today that the Supreme Court is set to rule on. Walk us through them.
Chanel, so we are still waiting for a number of significant cases that we should be getting the opinions for in the coming weeks. These usually roll out through the end of June. A few of the ones I would highlight are the court's decisions about the president's ability to remove the heads of independent agencies. That includes the case with Rebecca Slaughter related to the Federal Trade Commission. And in that case, it's a real question of whether the court could expand the power of the president and the executive branch and overturn a precedent that's from the 1930s that has been key here to keeping this as a bipartisan independent agency. And it could have implications for other agencies, too. Then there is also the case of Lisa Cook and the Federal Reserve, whether the president can remove her from that position. He has claimed that she committed mortgage fraud. So there is a possibility that the court will make a decision there about whether she can stay in place, or they could send that back to the lower court for more fact-finding, too. There's also a case related to transgender athletes. It's about a pair of laws barring transgender girls and women from participating in women's sports. That is a very important case, could have implications for many other states as well. And then lastly, Chanel, there is, of course, the birthright citizenship case, although I think it's likely that will come towards the end of the term.
Okay, lots to follow. We know you're on it. Katrina Kaufman, thank you.
Thanks, Katrina.